Hi, welcome to Maker's Bar. Today we have Rishi Kumar, who is the candidate for Congressional District 16. And he's here to tell about his story and how he got to doing what he's doing right now. And I'm really excited to have him here. Welcome, Rishi.
Thank you, Akshata. I'm looking forward to our conversation. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, me too. So, Rishi, tell me, I always start with this question, which is tell me about your early life and your career and how you got to doing what you're doing and what inspired you to run for public office. So, tell me the whole thing.
Well, my story is about geekdom. That's the kingdom I belong to.
Uh-huh.
And mechanical engineer by education, growing up in the city of Bombay, and
Uh-huh.
made it out to the University of Connecticut for a graduate school mechanical engineering program,
Uh-huh.
and then made it to Silicon Valley. But through the course, met my wife Seema. She's a
Yeah.
double E from Columbia. She's currently working at Juniper Network.
Yeah.
And we found Saratoga as a great home to raise our kids. And
Okay.
and through the process, I believe what happened was I'm a little bit of an activist in heart,
Uh-huh.
and I said there were issues happening around me. I said let me jump in and do my little bit, and it
Uh-huh.
actually happened right here in our neighborhood with a
Uh-huh.
few very minor issues that were happening.
Uh-huh.
And for whatever reason, my wife tells me you're a glutton for punishment. I don't know why you jump in and you take up all these different challenges,
Yeah.
but that has become my life's calling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And getting reelected with the highest votes in
Yeah.
66 years of Saratoga.
Yeah.
And that was a testament for someone like me who showed up with two suitcases in this country. This
Yeah.
country is very, very welcoming.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed giving back to the community, to the city, and now running for Congress. We have never had a tech savvy leader in a
Yeah.
million years of Silicon Valley, and we can actually fix that with this congressional race. So it's a good story playing out, and we hope to take this to the next level.
Yeah. I'm a Mumbaiker as well. I was born and raised in Mumbai, moved here when I was 21, and I totally hear your sentiments. I'm an immigrant myself. I came with $2,500 in my pocket. So I totally understand, and I share the same sentiment in many ways. And I'm a techie as well, so totally get it. So tell me, what your leadership philosophy is, right? Because I see like people's leadership philosophy evolves over the span of their career, right? You started in tech and now you are in politics. How has that kind of evolved as well throughout your career?
Yeah, it's interesting, Akshata, because everything I did in the community as an activist, I was actually applying the high tech framework,
Yeah.
working for companies like IBM, Cisco. I was essentially, as somebody who's an immigrant, we
Yeah.
really don't know the ways of America, and the
Yeah.
way we pick it up is by observing professors in graduate school when they
Yeah.
invited me for Thanksgiving dinner. Picking up a little bit of the culture, the rock and roll,
Yeah.
and everything I learned, I actually learned in Bombay while chasing trains and buses.
Yeah.
And it comes from that grit and determination. You are a doer and
Yeah.
you are a chaser. You're making things happen, and
Yeah.
that's the philosophy that I brought to this country in the
Yeah.
graduate school program. I'm a PhD dropout, actually. I was working in my thesis and I said, okay,
Yeah.
from the big city to a very rural campus, I decided that, okay, let's find a real job.
Yeah.
And here I am in Silicon Valley. But, it's a great nexus between community and high tech,
Yeah.
because what I did was everything I learned in tech, I applied into my activism as
Hmm.
a community activist working on different challenges around my neighborhood, then in the
Yeah.
city. And then eventually, what happened was with this run for Congress, I went part time. I really
Yeah.
focused heavily on my congressional race.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly transforming for me to actually pick up some new skills that I never thought I had.
Yeah.
And it was a game changer to actually dedicate yourself for a congressional campaign. Once again, I mean, we have professors from Stanford who are on our team. We have high
Mhm.
tech executives, CEOs, CTOs, we run a pretty hard-nosed campaign.
Yeah.
And as the candidate, you are juggling a lot of different things. So it showed me and it showed me traits that I probably never had discovered in myself. And
Yeah.
interestingly, I went back to work full time this year. And
Yeah.
now I'm applying everything I learned in politics, in the community. I'm applying that to tech as a
Yeah.
C-suite executive in a software company. So it's very interesting because, and my short summary, sorry, it's a little long-winded, but
No.
my short summary is, if you give to the world, it'll
Yeah.
come 10 times over. And that's my leadership philosophy, just give and
Yeah.
try to be of some help, and life will become very interesting and exciting.
I totally agree with you. In fact, my grandfather taught me this. He said, "Give back to your community, and it'll come back, 10 times or 50 times over." So I totally hear you, and I resonate with that sentiment. So District 16 is not an ordinary district, right? You have some of the. It is almost Silicon Valley, right? So what are like the pressing issues within that district? And it's like you, I mean, even being a candidate, whether you win the race or not, it's just you are the face, because Valley is the face of this entire country in many ways, right? So what are the pressing issues that you think is going on within this district and you'd want to solve as you come into, and if as and when if you come into power?
Yes. So, essentially, if you look, Silicon Valley, it
Yeah.
delivers 45% of California's revenue
Yeah.
from this community right here.
Yeah.
The tech community. It is my congressional district 16 is
Yeah.
actually the most affluent in all of America, number one,
Yeah.
and it's all the tech money.
Yeah.
But I think the pressing issue we have had is we have had no representation.
Yeah.
We have had leaders who do not understand technology. We have
Yeah.
had the woes of social media play out for the
Yeah.
last few years
Yeah.
in somewhat of a sordid way that our elected leaders have
Yeah.
not really addressed because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
And now with artificial intelligence, machine learning, it's going to be a different world. It's going to be an autonomous world. And it
Yeah.
brings me to a debate where I was sitting down and debating my opponent. And my opponent said, I'm going to fight for American workers. I'm going to protect them
Yeah.
within this autonomous world.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm sorry, I disagree, because the change is what is coming. It's inevitable. And
Yeah.
we have to prepare the world of the future. We have to
Yeah.
prepare our students. We have to prepare our workers,
Yeah.
and we have to actually exert our leadership to make things better. And this
Yeah.
is where I see things failing,
Yeah.
because we have a bunch of it's the gerontocracy in Washington. They call it
Yes.
the world's adult daycare that's
Yeah.
happening
Yeah.
in Washington.
Yeah.
Just today I was looking at, there was a report, and we
Yeah.
have folks who are just in the period of 1938 to 1950. I
Yeah.
don't know, we probably have 50 elected leaders in Washington sitting there occupying a spot and staying too long, but doing very
Yeah.
little, but also selling out a little bit with insider trading and all that kind of stuff, right? So
Yeah.
this is actually wearing America down, and it's
Hmm.
in fact impeding our progress. Now, when you look at Silicon Valley, there are issues with housing, traffic, homelessness, big
Yeah.
challenges here. We have issues with healthcare nationally. We have issues with
Yeah.
climate change globally. So we
Yeah.
need able leaders stepping up and delivering it for the people. And
Yeah.
that's the reason why somebody like me, a Mumbaiker, is ready to take charge.
I agree. I tell people who are not Mumbaikars that once you live in the city, you can survive anywhere.
Absolutely. Well said.
Anyways, so given your innovation background and technology background, and looks like you're an AI executive in some company as well, right? And how do you plan to integrate technology and innovation within your policy? And I asked this we're at a very critical juncture in especially in technology with the onset of AI, right? We are we are at a point where people are fear mongering a lot about AI. So, as a policy, and I've seen politicians who don't understand some of these new technologies at all. So you are like a new age, leader who's in this space. So, how are you planning to address and integrate some of these policies and new technologies that are coming up, and what are your stances on it?
Well, the elephant in the room is the artificial intelligence. With the Chat GPT, things have
Yeah.
just exploded. I mean,
Yeah.
last year at this time, we probably had no idea what's going to happen in the world. And now
Yeah.
we are talking about issues with singularity where the machines take over. I mean, it was a science fiction movie, but now
Yeah.
it's looking like a reality because,
Yeah.
these large language models and then LLMs that
Yeah.
enterprises are building, it's going to be a very powerful story. I see the White House policy manifesto with artificial intelligence that was rolled out just a
Mhm.
couple of weeks back, and I looked at that release, and
Yeah.
it seemed like America was being very cautious,
Yeah.
and we have led charge when it comes to the semiconductor industry or the software industry or
Yeah.
blockchain. We
Yeah.
have been we have been the world leaders, but
Yeah.
I see that we are willing to yield our spot in this world to India and China
Yeah.
by saying that we'll be much more cautious with AI. But the
Yeah.
world is not going to be standing around waiting for us to make our move. The world is pretty
Yeah.
aggressive,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and we will, unfortunately, if we lose ground with this new world, I
Yeah.
think we, America as a superpower, will probably cease to exist. That's
Yeah.
the nature of this.
Yeah.
Secondly, when you look at the de-dollarization that's happening,
Yeah.
dollar is the global standard,
Yeah.
and if it gets depegged, and there is a movement out in by China and a few
Yeah.
other countries to basically remove the dollar as the global standard. If
Yeah.
that happens, this will completely tarnish our economy in a way that we cannot even imagine. So
Yeah.
these are types of challenges that we are facing. But what
Yeah.
I've done exceedingly well is looking at data and taking proactive stances. For example, in my city of Saratoga, our
Mhm.
burglaries were going up. They
Yeah.
had gone up 100%
Yeah.
in just about like 4 years. It had
Yeah.
doubled basically. That's when
Yeah.
I said, look, there is a problem. I can see the uptick every year. Then you
Yeah.
take action,
Yeah.
and you take action by putting together some sort of a strategy and
Yeah.
then execution. I believe in quick and dirty. You have to get going, take
Yeah.
that first step, and then you will sort of pivot. You will figure your way out. And
Yeah.
long story short, we reduce our burglaries by 50%,
Yeah.
and it has stayed that way since 2016.
That is
I
amazing.
monitor that very now. This is a huge angst for the people. People
Yeah.
tell me, Rishi, this is not for Congress to solve. But
Yeah.
politics is local. When people's homes are being broken into, you have to
Yeah.
do something about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, what I'm saying is innovation is probably the most important agenda that we have. We
Yeah.
have run training programs for little kids, trained over
Mhm.
2,000 students with the art of entrepreneurship. Taking a
Yeah.
crazy idea, turning that into a business plan.
Yeah.
Teaming up with Sam Liccardo, who's the former mayor of San Jose, we
Yeah.
launched this in some of the poorest parts of San Jose. I
Yeah.
would like to take this agenda
Mhm.
nationally. I would like to see every state flourish with that innovation agenda, provide
Yeah.
educational opportunities, and create innovation hubs in every city where
Yeah.
professors, teachers, CTOs, CEOs, and young middle school, high school students can
Yeah.
essentially play with technology, take a crazy idea, turn
Yeah.
that into a business plan. So it gets me very excited. And
Yeah.
that's my agenda. As a technologist, as somebody from Silicon Valley, I'm a geek, absolutely a geek. But in
Uh-huh.
Silicon Valley, the geeks are rock stars. I would like to see many more rock stars all across the United States.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, I totally get it, right? Like for AI, I think we are going to have a workforce very soon. It's like probably year or two from now, where which is not trained on this new technologies, and every company would want uh, retrained professionals, right? So this is an amazing thought in terms of retraining. In fact, I think we need retraining in Silicon Valley itself. So
Absolutely. It starts here.
it starts from here. Actually, it starts from here, and then the rest of the workforce in America, right? So, so tell me, like you touched a little briefly, and I know President Xi was in San Francisco. I mean, he still is probably is in San Francisco on China and de-dollarization and everything. Try to stay away from these conversations, but because I feel like I'm not in the closed doors enough to actually have an opinion on something like this. But I am curious what your thoughts are on economic policies, right? Not just for your district, nationally as well. And now I see some amount of fear mongering around CBDCs and things of that sort. I'm sure you're going to be asked this question throughout this year. So, what are your thoughts on this, right? And just curious about your stance.
So, specific to CBDC,
Yeah.
China and India, China has already rolled out the digital yuan and they are
Yeah.
moving forward fast and furious.
Yeah.
America has a white paper,
Yeah.
and it's like in the research stages.
Yeah.
So we are in kindergarten, and China is probably at the level of like a college level, university. So I
Yeah.
think we have a lot of catching up to do. And again,
Yes.
I don't believe that technology or cryptocurrency is evil. As
Yeah.
long as you have guardrails, and that's my approach with AI as well. But
Yeah.
we have to apply it in the interest of mankind. Like, if you look at railroad tracks that were laid out, and the trains were perceived as a threat, or
Yes.
automobiles were perceived
Yeah.
as a threat. People were
Yeah.
dying in the early days because people were not used to.
Yeah.
Children would play on the road and they would actually get so this is how technology is, but we have to build the guardrails and we have to harness it for the
Yeah.
good of mankind.
Yeah.
So that's my overall take on this. And when you look at, there are two major focus areas for me:
Yeah.
economy and education.
Yeah.
Build a robust economy, create that
Yeah.
empowerment, and it
Yeah.
only comes through education. So when I
Yeah.
see, for example, America, as we are actually, to an extent, we are colonizing the world that the British did
Yeah.
back in a different era. And
Yeah.
it was probably okay back then with the British because it was a different world. And now I think the world is perceived a lot differently.
Yeah.
And we are engaging in too many wars across the world. And you
Yeah.
look at Afghanistan, we spent a total of $10 trillion, $10
Yeah.
trillion in Afghanistan and Iraq. And
Yeah.
we left those two countries in shambles. They still don't know. They're reeling from that shock. It's simply bad what we have done, and
Yeah.
that karmic play will come back and bite us. So I believe that my
Yeah.
policy is, let's get away from a world of wars. Let's
Yeah.
create economic empowerment. Every country across the world, let's build an education platform for them. Let's help them out, and that
Yeah.
should be the American strategy. In fact, I will be championing this once we are in Washington next year. We are sitting at 42%, which is unprecedented. Nobody has ever hit this number
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
last so many years, and
Yeah.
and we have an octogenarian incumbent that we are running against. Age has
Yeah.
become a big issue. We are
Yeah.
clearly running to win, Akshata, and I invite the listeners to join us.
Yes, yes, definitely. I would say that. I have to say I noticed something else about you. When I was young, and all of us heard the story, the tortoise and the hare, right? And you're the tortoise. I feel like I have been the tortoise all my life. I will do it slowly and steadily, and nobody will know when I rise. So you're the tortoise, and I feel like you will definitely rise, and there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So you worked on it for almost close to a decade at this point.
Yes, in fact, my campaign, well, my political stint started when a state senator reached out and said, Rishi,
Yeah,
we want you to run for the California Democratic Party delegate seat. I'm
yeah,
like, what is that? I had no idea.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
ended up running. There were 45 people in that race. I get the number one spot. I
yeah,
ended up becoming the executive board member of the California Democratic Party. That was in 2013.
yeah,
2014, we ran for city council. 2018, re-election was like a huge, spectacular success, winning
yeah,
with the highest votes in 66 years.
yeah,
And this is run for Congress. People said, Rishi is like time pass. Not really. We are running to win. That's the motivation we had. And
yeah,
until our loss last year, we had never ever lost any election because we apply the tech framework of getting things done and running a good, solid, data-driven campaign. But we were facing an incumbent who's been in office for 44 long years. The name ID is a huge advantage. So we have the startup grit. We'll keep persisting, and for sure, Akshata, we're going to win this.
yeah. I too surely hope so. So you talked a little bit about education is one of your things, right? And I understand like education, because coming from our backgrounds, education is something that we deeply value, right? So tell me a little bit about what reforms are you looking to do in this space within your district as well as nationally as well.
So there is we have lots of policies on the website. So if
Yeah,
anybody wants to check them out,
yeah,
we see a lot of candidates who run for various offices,
yeah,
and you go to the website, all they are doing is asking for money. They're
yeah,
not talking about, what have I done or what do I hope to accomplish. I don't see that, and I've visited lots of different sites, right? So if
yeah,
you go to my website, you use the search box, enter
yeah,
keywords, and you will
Yeah.
find policy papers coming out. We have hundreds of policy papers we have written up. So we have a policy paper on
Yeah.
education. So I
Yeah.
laid out very simply. My take is we talked a little bit about the STEM programs, right?
Yeah.
This is what we have been running here in Silicon Valley. We
Yeah.
run the Lego robotics training boot camps. We run the entrepreneurship boot camp. We just ran a Chat GPT class over the summer, and we
Oh,
are
very
running
nice.
the Chat GPT Part 2 application building
Yeah.
in the Christmas holidays. So this is what I do. But from a
Yeah.
standpoint of a policy,
Yeah.
we need to ensure that we are able to really bolster the educational system we have. You look
Yeah.
at California. California is the 46th in the country.
Yeah.
So as a Silicon Valley congressman, I would make sure that we will actually expand and enhance the educational system we have here. I was very
Right.
fortunate, Akshata. I was actually invited to be on the California Department of Education Computer Science Strategic Implementation Panel. This was in
Mm-hmm.
2017. This was a
Mm-hmm.
panel that would meet in Sacramento, about
Mm-hmm.
35 of us, including many teachers and professors. And
Yeah.
we built the curriculum for computer science for the state of California. So every
That's,
public school child, K to
yeah.
12, is
Yeah.
studying computer science, the curriculum that we came up with. So you can see
Oh,
how important this is for me.
yeah.
And that has gone live. It went live in 2022, no, 2020, I think. 2020, it
Yeah.
went live.
Yeah.
So this has been live, and California will see the benefit of it.
Yeah.
So from a standpoint of creating opportunities, we have to provide them this opportunity right at the high school level. Vocational training programs, it's
Yeah.
completely lacking in a system. So there
Yeah.
are kids who will graduate high school and then they
Yeah.
will find a job, but they have
Yeah.
not been trained vocationally. So they'll end up at a carpenter's workshop, or they'll end up in a mechanic workshop, and they're sort of learning the ropes. Why can't we
Yes.
teach them in school right away? Not
Yeah.
every child may go to college.
Yeah.
So, but we have to provide different pathways for different types of aspirations that our students have. But more
Yeah.
importantly, we have to make sure that they
Yeah.
find a place in the economy. And I believe also that we have to figure out a way to provide free college education. You look at
Yeah.
the IITs that we have back in India, they
Yeah.
are literally for free. I mean, there's not much charge, and they are spectacular systems, right?
Yeah.
California, we only have nine public universities, which is a travesty for 40 million people. We have
Yeah.
only nine. I would
Yeah.
love to see 90 universities, right? And
Yeah.
we have to figure out a model between a public private partnership to fund these types of educational opportunities. Not
Yeah.
every family can afford it, but we should allow companies to invest. Just like, we have NBA teams that
Yeah.
actually invest in a player, send them to the G League,
Yeah.
the development league, and then they pick them up to be an NBA star, right? So
Yeah.
similarly, we should allow companies to invest in students, go
Yeah.
through an interview process in high schools,
Mhm.
invest in their education. So anyway, I can keep going on this because this is a core component of what I seek to do as a Silicon
Yeah.
Valley congressman.
Yeah, I totally hear you, and especially I like the fact that you're thinking about vocational training at high school because not everybody needs to go to college. I mean, it's I have got a lot of education. I sometimes feel like it's too much education, personally. So, but I totally like the idea of vocational training at high school, and I think that will be the need, especially in this new world that we're going into, because a lot of things are going to be done by AI.
The interesting thing,
So,
Akshita, is that I'm sorry,
yeah, yeah,
just one more
sorry.
point.
Yeah,
And somebody might have a PhD but still be lost. They'll go to a postdoc, and they're still trying to
yeah,
find a bearing in the world.
yeah,
And
yeah,
somebody who gets, like, let's say in Silicon Valley, we
yeah,
train our students with social media. They are literally our when our kids, when they're infants, they are working with a tablet, they're browsing through. I mean,
yeah,
they understand the world of social media. We can train them, find them
yeah,
jobs right here. Or we could train the son
yeah,
or daughter of a coal miner in West Virginia with social media and
yeah,
create a startup economy there, right?
yeah,
So I think if we provide them that opportunity, this
yeah,
is where they will find their calling very early.
yeah,
Because the thing is, we all know that when we are young, our brains are a lot more sharper. I can
yeah,
see my brain declining like by the hour. But anyway, I think if we provided them that opportunity early on, they would
yeah,
go out and be entrepreneurs. So a PhD might go do a postdoc, maybe postdoc rest of their life,
yeah.
whereas somebody who's a high school dropout might become a Bill Gates, right? So we need to create that opportunity for them. It's so important.
Yeah, yeah, I totally hear you. And they might have just have leadership naturally, so you never know, and they might become the Bill Gates of the world. Might not be
Exactly.
Bill Gates of the world, something else at least.
Yeah.
So, so So obviously, like the climate today, right, is highly polarized. Frankly, I cannot take a stance at all. I always say I'm in the center, right? So how do you plan to work across to achieve, results where you have two ends of the spectrum? And from what I perceive you, you're quite centered as well. But I don't know, the center changes for everyone. So
Yes, so I have a clear bipartisanship play, rishikumar.com/moderate. Look, when you call out something, I have a policy paper written on it, right? rishikumar.com/moderate, and you will find my policies, which are fairly middle of the road. The
yeah,
reason why, because I'm not like a lawyer from who's gone to law school in Yale or Harvard. I've gone through like geek school. I'm a mechanical engineer, and
yeah,
so I'm keenly interested to solve problems around me. So my policies are very pragmatic, common sense thinking, and
yeah,
this has stood extremely well for me as a council member in Saratoga.
yeah,
Because that earned me the respect of people. Like Rishi is not activity for the sake of activity. He's
yeah,
really trying to roll up his sleeves and address issues and challenges. And
yeah,
so what I've done is I would team up with anybody who's willing to play ball with me. I would team up with them because the
yeah,
whole aspiration is to be there, working in the interest of the people and actually helping them. I'm in
yeah.
the business of building good karma. That's it. That's all I'm trying. Good karma for myself. And with that, you're trying to impact the problems around me, around the world. And it's a great story. We'll keep
Yeah.
doing it.
So tell me, how are you planning to, we are a very diverse community in the valley, right? We have people, all kinds of diversity here. In fact, I love the fact that we live in a very diverse area because the food is just excellent, thanks to the diversity. Uh, so tell me, how are you planning to ensure that the voices of marginalized communities are heard within this district?
So, to an extent, I think the Democratic Party is very much on that track.
Yeah,
We are essentially very cognizant of minorities and communities,
yeah,
and we are willing to address their challenges. So this has been a core agenda of the party.
yeah,
And as an executive board member of the California Democratic Party, I picked up those traits, and
yes,
that's the reason why we ended up running our educational workshops, the boot camps, in some
yeah,
of the most impoverished districts of San Jose. So this is definitely something that is a focus for me, and we'll
yeah,
keep working on it. For example, knocking on doors.
yeah,
I spent a lot of time in East
yeah,
San Jose, which is definitely not Atherton. We talk
yeah,
about the most affluent areas of America is right here, but
yeah,
East San Jose is maybe not as affluent. But I've gone knocking on doors, meeting lots of families from minority communities. I've learned to speak in their language. They open the door, and
yeah,
and sometimes I look like them. I'm talking like them, and they feel so happy to see me.
yeah,
Sometimes I can see it in their eyes. I can
yeah,
see in their eyes they're not listening to me. They're
yeah,
just feeling a lot of pride that this guy is at my door and he wants to talk to me. I can see it in their eyes. And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
absolutely uplifting for me because I believe that I'm
yeah,
the voice of everyone. It's not just for the Atherton billionaires. I'm
yeah,
here for every person. If I can make a difference in a child,
yeah.
in one child, I think my life is redeemed. So anyway, that's my plan.
And sometimes you just have to go and ask for their support and
Yeah.
be in their front door, which a lot of leaders don't understand. And they will automatically give it to you. If you go to the front door and say that, hey, I need your support, they'll automatically give it to you. So, totally hear you. So, tell me, like, what is your vision for your future and for the future of this district as well, and just the nation too. Uh, I mean, what do you think, or at least is, or do you think about a vision? Because it is, challenging to think about a vision in today's world that we are in. But just curious about your thoughts.
Well, my aspiration is to be working away till I'm like 90 years old or something, because I call it staying busy, staying out of trouble, and
Yeah,
that's worked out really well.
yeah,
My wife says that since you got into politics, and I would say that happened right in my planning commission days, which is
yeah,
probably like 2008 in the city of Saratoga. That's when
yeah.
I got into the planning commission. And then life became a lot different because you are being pulled in lots of multiple directions. Like
Yeah.
tomorrow evening, we have like 4 or 5 public events that we have to go to. And
Yeah.
in between that, my wife is trying to invite one of our relatives to show up for lunch or dinner. So it's a
Yeah.
lot of juggling. But the
Yeah.
thing is, it makes me very happy. It makes me very happy to be there
Yeah.
working in the interest of the people.
Yeah.
So whatever I do, whether it's politics, nonprofit, or high tech, it's always try to do something good.
Yeah.
Don't be the evil guy. Just stay on track, do something good, and stay happy. So I
Yeah.
sleep like a baby every night because I feel good doing what I do, and I'll continue to keep it that way. And
Yes.
I'm an idiot. I can't think too far. Just stay in the moment, do the right thing. That's it.
Yeah. Just be here now. What would be your message to your district as you prepare for this year and the next year?
So, if I was asking people who are watching this to consider supporting my run next year,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
election is on March 5th. Voting begins February 5th.
Yeah.
And the top two, California is a top two system.
Yeah.
We currently have, I think, 5 people in this race, including
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And the top two make it to the next round. And we did that last year. We beat 6 other challenges. We
Hmm.
expect and hope to do it again. And we believe that this is the time where it's the time for our American politicians to pass the torch.
Yeah.
They have stayed too long and they have actually been impeding progress. And
Yeah.
Silicon Valley and California needs able leaders who can step up their act. There's an exodus going on in California. So we
Yeah.
need leaders
Yeah.
who have integrity, but also invested in solving problems. You
Yeah.
look at the traffic nightmare that we all go through. We don't
Yeah.
even have a vision plan to expand our transportation and come up with just a vision plan.
Yeah.
You look at Bombay, we have put up the monorails and we have really gone about it in a very regimented manner. It may
Yeah.
not be the best solution, but at least we have done something.
Yeah.
Over
I think,
here,
yeah. Sorry.
it,
Go
it
ahead.
it's groundhog day. We all complain, politicians complain, we complain about PG&E, we complain about homelessness, we complain about California fires. Nothing is
Yeah.
really getting done. So if somebody was listening this and trying to decide who they should support,
Yeah.
please consider me, because in my first 2 years I will deliver a lot more than what the incumbent has done in the last 30. I can guarantee you that. So give us a chance and we'll make a lot of good happen.
All right. I think that with this, we are closing our podcast, and I really enjoyed talking to you, Rishi, and sharing some of the very similar cultural backgrounds and very similar values, I have to say. And I wish you all the very best for your run, and I'm happy to do whatever I can from my side for you. So, yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Fantastic. There's one ask that I have, the final
Yeah.
ask, which is we reject all the dark tainted money. We rely upon people money,
Yeah.
and this is how we have raised money. We have raised over 1 million,
Yeah.
and the incumbent has outspent us because the incumbent does take a lot of dark tainted money, PAC money, special interest group money. But
Yeah.
our run is about ethics and politics, so we will never do that. But we rely upon people. So
Yeah.
please take the time, go to rishikumar.com, make a campaign contribution. You can use PayPal, Venmo, crypto, lots of different great options, but
Yeah.
support our run.
For sure. We'll do that. I'll do first thing as soon as I'm done with
Oh
this
my
podcast.
God. I didn't expect you to do that, Akshata. So thank you so much for your
Yeah,
willingness.
yeah. No, I mean, I'll make sure, like, your voice is heard with as many people as possible, as well. So, and all the viewers who are listening, please donate as well, who are in the district, and support a new leader as well, I would say. So, a new age leader. All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Rishi. And I think we'll be ending the podcast now.
Fantastic.